Hello and welcome to pnclounge.com. In this video, we are going over the principles behind the Agile Manifesto. So there are 12 principles and we are going to cover all of them in this video. As always, if you're into reading articles, then first link in the description is going to take you to an article on this topic over at our official website pmclounge.com. So check that out if you're into articles. Also, second link is going to be a playlist of all the Agile videos that we have done on this channel. PMP is now 50% agile. So those videos are going to help you prepare for the agile part of the PMP exam. Also, third link is specific to PMI-ACP. In case you are preparing yourself for PMI-ACP, check the third link out. This video is going to help you regardless of whether you are preparing for PMP or PMI-ACP. All right, let's get started. A quick reminder, please hit the like button. That seems to be the only way YouTube is going to let you know every time we upload new content. Now, I hope you remember this video where we talked about the agile values. If not, I'll share a direct link to this video, fourth link in the description below, where we talked about the agile values. And the agile values basically say that these items to your left are more important than the items on your right. So what it means is individuals and interactions are more important than process and tools. Working software is more important than comprehensive documentation and so on. So we've already covered the agile values and there are only 4 agile values, but we have 12 agile principles. So why do we have principles if we already have agile values? That's a good question, which I am going to answer in the next slide. So why principles? Why do we need principles? 12 of them if we already have 4 values. Now values, although they do a good job of capturing the very core of agile mindset, I mean, if you follow those 4 values, that is the core of what agile mindset really is. But at the same time, when it comes to your day-to-day work and day-to-day decisions, the values are too high level and too broad to help you when it comes to your day-to-day project management and day-to-day work related to following the agile model. So that is why we need these 12 principles behind the Agile Manifesto that help you understand and follow those values in your day-to-day work. So where exactly did these 12 values come about? Where do they come from? Now, I hope you remember in our video on agile values, we talked about a story about how a group of people went to Salt Lake City, Utah in US in the Sky Resort, and that's how they did a discussion. They wanted to come up with something lightweight and they came up with 4 values. The same group of people at the Snowboard Sky Resort, they were not able to finalize the principles. So these 12 principles weren't finalized in the same meeting. Those 4 values, although were. So even after the group left Utah, the wording of these 12 principles were not finalized and they were finalized only sometime later. Now, since the time the wordings were finalized, there have been minor changes in the wording of these 12 principles, but the general idea, the basic structure of these 12 principles, they still remain the same. A quick reminder, pmclounge.com/pm101, your gateway to the world of project management, a free 1.5 hour training, our most watched video on YouTube ever. Check it out, pmclounge.com/pm101. So let's start off with the first principle. Principle number 1. By the way, all of these principles are available on the agilemanifesto.org website, the official website of Agile Manifesto. So principle 1 is our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. So I've highlighted some important keywords of this principle. We want to satisfy the customer with early and continuous delivery after it. So first of all, This is a big difference between agile and the traditional waterfall model. We don't want the customer to wait till the very end to get his or her hands on the software, right? We deliver software early, and it could be a piece of software, but then at the same time it is valuable piece, it's not junk. So we do early delivery of software, and after this early delivery we do continuous delivery of software as well. And all these all these iterations that we are doing, or all these parts of the software that we are delivering, all of these are valuable. These are not useless piece of software. Principle 2 is welcome changing requirements even late in development. Agile processes harness change for customers' competitive advantage. Now, if you compare this with the traditional waterfall model, every change needs to go through a heavyweight change management process. And it's almost as if change is being frowned upon. But in the agile world, changes are actually welcome. And even if it's late in the development cycle, changes are still welcome. And changes help with customers' competitive advantage. Through the course of you creating the software for the customer might come across a certain requirement which could be a game changer for him or her, right? As far as competitive advantage is concerned. So the customer comes to you and the customer says that, hey, this is a feature that I didn't thought about in the beginning when we were starting off with the project, because that's when I knew the least about the project. But now that I have seen, all the iterations of the software that you have delivered to me, all the parts that you have delivered to me, I believe that this is one feature that you should add in the software that is going to help me with some competitive advantage in the market. And it is a change. It could be late in the development cycle, but you still welcome that change as long as it satisfies the customers, as long as it helps with customers' competitive advantage. Principle 3, deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to shorter time scale. Now, this is the key here. Whatever that you're delivering, right, it has value. It is working software. That's the key. So you want to deliver software which is working. You just don't want to deliver lines of code which is of no use to the customer. So what you're trying to deliver is working software, and you need to do that frequently, even if it's couple of weeks to a couple of months. But that's the plan, right? That's the goal, to deliver working software and do that frequently, and preferring a shorter time scale, as short as possible. Principle 4, business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. This is where all your daily Scrum team meetings and all that comes into the picture, right? You don't want the business people to create a business requirements document and then someone else, a business analyst or someone, to create a system requirements document, and then the designer to create a design document, and based on that design document, the high level design and the low level design, and based on all these documentation and design, then ask your developers to start the code. You don't want that. What you want is business people must directly work with the developers, and they should do so every day throughout the project. So you may have a product owner or a product manager or a business analyst, anyone who belongs to the business fraternity when it comes to your software, right? So the business side, someone from the business side needs to work with the developers every day throughout the project. That's principle number 4 of Agile Manifesto. Principle number 5, build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. Now, don't treat your project team members as people who are not going to do the job and you need to constantly follow up and do micromanagement. That's what this principle is about. Individuals need to be motivated, right? That's the first point. And secondly, you as a project manager, an agile project manager, or a scrum master, or whatever your title is, you need to give the individuals on your project team the environment and the support they need, and then you need to trust them that they will get the job done. That's the principle number 5. That's what it talks about. It asks you to step away and not micromanage, but be able to give the environment, the support, and the trust required to the individuals so that they can get the job done. Principle number 6, the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. There they said it: no Zoom calls, no team meetings, no Microsoft Teams, no Slack. The most efficient and the most effective method of conveying information to your development team or within the development team is face-to-face conversation. So follow this principle, principle number 6, and I hope you're able to see a difference between principles and values. Values were too broad statements, they were too high level. Principles are telling you what needs to happen on a day-to-day basis on your projects with your project team so that you guys stay agile. Principle 7, working software is the primary measure of progress, not the completion of design document, right? Design document is fine and dandy, I have nothing against it. But the primary measure of your project's progress is working software. How much of a software that is working have you built? That's your progress. As simple as that. Principle number 8, agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. This is very powerful. So, we are talking about sustainable development here. You see, when you're following agile, you are basically delivering value in terms of working software. So let's say you are delivering a piece of working software every 2 months. And the first 2 months, you are able to deliver working software and you are able to cover 20 features in that working software. Is that something which is sustainable, or did your team work 24/7 to deliver those 20 features? If it's sustainable, how long can you sustain it? Can you sustain it indefinitely? And if you say, possibly not, we scrambled a lot to deliver these 20 features in the first 2 months, then that is not sustainable development. Agile processes promote sustainable development. If you can deliver only 4 features in 2 months, then break those features down in a way, break, all your features down in a way that you are able to basically deliver 4 features every 2 months or similar amount of work every 2 months. You should maintain a constant pace, and at the same time you should promote sustainable development. Think of it, if you can do something like this indefinitely, you don't have to scratch and claw in the first 2 months and in the next 2 months again scratch and claw and still not be able to deliver the amount of value you delivered in the first 2 months. So I hope this is clear. Sustainable development is all about thinking what you can deliver, whatever value that you can deliver indefinitely. So principle 9 is interesting. It talks about continuous attention to technical excellence and good design as it enhances agility. Now, why I said this is interesting, because when we talk about agile and agility, we might think, well, isn't agile or agility all about quickly delivering value, quickly delivering working software? How come our focus here is on good design and technical excellence and all that, when your focus should be on delivering value as soon as possible. But when we say technical excellence and good design, what we are trying to say here is avoid complexity. Have you ever had a designer or a coder in your project who, just to showcase his or her technical superiority, comes up with a very complex design and a very complex solution? If yes, that is something we need to avoid at all costs, right? Be it complex design, be it complex patterns, be it complex code, we want to avoid all of this, and that is what good design is. That is what technical excellence is. We should not focus on complexity, we should focus on simplicity, we should focus on technical excellence, we should focus on good design, which is not complex, which enables us to be agile, which enables us to improve our agility and deliver working software quickly. Principle 10 is very, very interesting. It actually builds on top of principle 9. It says simplicity is essential. As simple as that. That's what this entire principle means. But then it adds few more words, and that's where it gets a bit confusing. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done. So, is this principle asking you to avoid work? Not at all. This principle talks about an art, and this word art you'll find only once between these 12 principles, and that is in principle 10. So, there is an art that this principle 10 wants you to learn, and that art is about keeping things simple. See, if simplicity is good, we are always going to leave the system with the simplest design possible. How can you concentrate on the design and architecture of any application or software that you are developing? How can you identify the essential, the bare minimum elements? How can you minimize the dependencies? How can you let go of extra things to ensure that the product becomes better? That is what this art of maximizing the amount of work not done is talking about. It is an art. And if you can follow this principle, nothing like it. Principle 11 talks about the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. And this is where Agile wants the project manager to once again avoid micromanaging, right? Let the teams be self-organizing teams. Let them self-organize. Let them be responsible and accountable. And when they are given that kind of freedom, when you are someone as a project manager who is ensuring that the project team has the right environment and the right support that they need, that's when the teams will come up with best architectures. That's when they'll come up with best requirements. That's when they'll come up with best designs. So ensure that your team is self-organizing. Finally, principle number 12, at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. Talk about retrospective meetings. Talk about timely checking with your team at regular intervals, checking with your team. How effective or how good are we doing whatever that we are doing? What is it that we can stop doing? What is it that we can start doing? What is it that we can continue to do, right? When the team asks such questions, the team should be able to adjust and adapt their behavior accordingly with whatever feedback that is being received. And that is all about principle 12. It is in a way talking about continuous improvement. So here's the question for this video. It is a good question for an agile project manager or a scrum master interview as well. Which is your favorite agile principle and why? Let me know in the comments. Definitely looking forward to your answers. So that's all that we had in this video. I hope you got value out of it. I hope you were able to make out what these 12 principles are. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Smash that bell icon to stay notified every time we upload new content. And don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free PMP resource. Thank you.